Sorry about that. Is Pastor McNary on the line? Is there anybody who want to
Yes,
lead?
got it. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Glad you could join us. Would you lead us in prayer?
Sure will. Father, we thank you for another gathering. We thank you for this fresh new year. We invoke your blessings upon each person, every family, every household. And Father, we thank you for Sandtown Association and the leadership of the same. We pray for a productive, fruitful meeting this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, thank you all for joining. We're going to go ahead and get started so we can get you back to your families this evening. I want to welcome you again to our January meeting, kicking off the new year 2023. The order has changed a little bit because I know schedules are tight. So we're going to hear from Tenard Turner, who is the Director for Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs for the City of South Fulton. And we also have Bill Jones, the Executive Director of Southeast Trust for Parks and Land. And they are going to talk about the good things that are happening in the City of South Fulton. So with that, either Tenard or Mr. Jones, take it away. Are they on the call?
I am. I'm on the call. This is Bill Jones. I'll be happy to start if that's
okay.
Quickly, thank you for having me. I have been working with the City of South Fulton down there in the Sandtown community for about 4 years on our Campbellton Creek Nature Park project. I'd just like to say that I have really enjoyed working with the city. Commissioner Dr. Catherine Rao has been just a great advocate and just a wonderful person, and in my opinion, a really just fine public servant. Somebody with, that really just embodies what I like to see in folks that hold elective offices. So I've really enjoyed that. Our organization, I started this 11 years ago. With the purpose of creating more public parks, not parks for soccer fields and baseball fields, but parks where you can go hike and ride a bike on trail, bird watch, do that type of things. We use the phrase quiet enjoyment of nature, that type of a park, which we do call them nature parks to kind of tell that story. We have built and it's opened Campbellton Creek Nature Park. It is on Plummer exit. It's 80 acres total with 40 acres on each side of Plummer Road. It actually our back corner, I guess it would be our southwest corner if my compass is working right today, actually touches the back of the Publix there at Sandtown. So just for a location indicator. Again, it's 80 acres. When we received it, we permanently conserved it to always remain natural and always be available for public use. So as that area continues to grow and there's more housing and more, businesses to support that housing, we all know this 80 acres will stay natural and be a place for people to go hike and walk. There's about 4 miles of hiking and mountain biking trails there. They're designed to be used simultaneously for biking and hiking. We build them where people can see who's coming and this and that. So it works real well. There's not much else out there but that. There's places to park, and there's trail maps up, and there's signs out and about on the trail to show where to go. But it's really just a very simple park for a place for people to go and get some quiet enjoyment of nature and some exercise. There's no cost to go to it. It's open every day during daylight hours. We like to say if you want to get some exercise, you just have to get yourself there and have on a comfortable pair of shoes. So we also think it's a public health benefit because it's a place where people can go get some exercise very inexpensively and very easily. Welcome to pause here if there's any questions or comments about that or other, and then after the pause, I will be talk about our upcoming project, also in the same area. So if there are any questions or comments, I'd love to have them now or not.
Any questions, anyone? I have seen on Facebook so many people enjoying the park. I can't wait to enjoy it myself. And a lot of walking and all of that. So I'm looking forward to it.
And this is Delphine. Hi, Bill,
Oh, hey,
from Play Fitness. How are you?
I'm great.
And I just want to make a comment too, like you and your crew are just amazing. We've had several events out to the park, and, just your help with the bee area and the garden area, with the other Bill. You guys just been amazing. So I just thank you all for your support, and we'll just continue to be out there hiking. The hiking is great, guys. For those who are on, you should try it out.
As a matter of fact, I've seen your post about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. The screen's probably too small to see how big my smile was while you were talking. So thank you for that. And thank you for your support and everything. It's been a community, what we do. And that in part, our motto is we try to provide conservation, recreation, and community. And I'll tell you, one of the ways community happens out there is, somebody will show up around 10 o'clock a lot of mornings to take their walk, and they start seeing somebody else showing up about the same time. Eventually they say hello to each other, and then 6 weeks later they're good friends, and it's a hiking group, or it's a group, and it kind of keeps everybody motivated and showing up. So thank you very much for sharing that, for sure. Okay, well, our next project, I was asked to talk about this too, is on, and I want to pause about Campbellton Creek. I would love, if you want to set up, I can work with whoever, probably Deborah, I guess, but we can set up a day where on the weekend or after work, I'd love to meet the Sandtown Community Association, any members that want to meet me at Campbellton Creek Park and take a walk with me and experience the park that way. I'll share what I know, little nature facts and thoughts, and do that. So we can do that later, and I'd love to set that up. So that offer
wonderful.
stands.
I'll take you up on it. Perfect.
Great. And then our other project is on Butner Road at Camp Creek Parkway. There's Walton Homes has a big development there. I can't think of the names. Is it Walton Lakes? I'm drawing a blank, but it's on Camp Creek Parkway, kind of halfway between 285 and
Walden
Campbellton
Park
Road. Yeah. But we own about 45 acres on that corner, and we are really doing the same thing we did at Campbellton Creek right there. We're going to have a basic parking area. We're going to have about 3 or 4 miles of trails that'll be available for hiking and biking. Yes, Walton Lakes near Piedmont Driving Club, golf course over there. We got a message from Dr. Rao telling us that. Thank you. It's also going to be used, this site that's going to be a little more oriented towards these youth mountain bike teams, which there are teams now forming in Southwest Atlanta. There's Bearings Bike Works. I don't know if y'all are familiar with them. But they are a good group that takes kids and mentors them, high school age young people, and they have a program where these kids learn how to fix and work on bikes. And it's a job skills and it's life skills. They get a lot of the people there, not all of them certainly, but a lot of the participants in these programs were kids that maybe weren't fitting in school, in high school, or whatever it is. I mean, I'll use the phrase at risk, but I don't know that, but in some ways. And so what they're finding is with their program is a lot of these kids are going through the program and ending up getting jobs at Delta in their tech ops department, because they learn mechanical skills through working on bikes. All that said, there's going to be a lot of work with that group there, and also with these kids that Westlake High School is going to have a mountain bike team for kids. And again, in talking to the faculty at Westlake High School, they said, this is great. This is another way for kids to find a way to connect, to find a way to believe and belong and that type of thing. So we have broken ground on that project. We are working on it currently. We received a grant from a foundation for $110,000 to build the trails. And we're talking to some other foundations and groups about money for the infrastructure. So it's going to be, we're planning to have bicycles there that can be checked out and used. We're going to have clinics so we can introduce people to how to ride a mountain bike and how to do that. So it's kind of a little more geared towards that sport, but the trails will also be made for walking. In addition to that, the Bill Edwards Hard Surface Trail travels from the Walton Lakes community all the way to Butner Road. I don't know if y'all have ever walked on that trail, but it's a hard surface, really nice. That travels through our property as well. So we're going to build some just nature trails that are walking only and do a lot of beautification, a lot of native plants, things like that along the Bill Edwards Trail to make that a little more useful for the community and more enjoyable for the community. We expect to open that park sometime in about 6 months, roughly, will take us to get to that point. I'd also like to add at that park and also at the Campbellton Creek Park, we have demonstration gardens. We have an apiary, which is, we have a beekeeper, Bill the beekeeper. So we've got beehives at Campbellton Creek, which is neat. And we're doing programs with adults and young people to learn about beekeeping. We're working with Westlake High School, their cross-country teams train at Campbellton Creek Nature Park. I remember one day before we built the park, I was out there doing some trash litter pickup, and along comes the women's cross-country team from Westlake High School down Plummer Road with all the trucks and whatnot. And I'm like, oh no, we got to build some trails and let these women have a safe place to go run. So we've done that. So I could go on and on. I don't want to take up the whole meeting, so I will stop there and say that we've got one park built. Love to take you all there, and we've got a second park on the way. And we also have another program with the city of Atlantis on the other side of the Piedmont Driving Club. We have recently, and it's not announced publicly yet, but we have transferred a big piece of land to the city of Atlanta that's going to also build this type of a park. So the Sandtown community very soon is going to be a community where there's 3 places for residents to go hike and get out and experience nature. So it's going to become part of the fabric of the city of South Fulton. The Sandtown area is going to be outdoor recreation, a place where people can go and experience nature. And I think that's just great for the community. It's just a real neat thing that's happening. And all this is happening with almost no taxpayer dollars. That's neat too. We're working with the city, but we're not relying on taxpayer money to do it either. We've been raising the money ourselves to get this all done.
How exciting. Is there anything that you want us to put on? We can put on the Sandtown Community Association website that we can advertise or, show the locations and that type of thing?
I would, yes. And I'd like to take a minute to think about it and send you, and I'll just send it to you, I guess,
Yep.
and see what that message would be. And I'd really love, I know it's sketchy with the weather right now. If we knew it was going to be a day like today, I'd say, let's get out there and go walk around. But I really would, let's schedule up the Sandtown Community Association visit to the park.
Yep.
And go from there. That would be my main. I would love to just do that first to get more people involved, to see the park. Because eventually, I'd like to start having HOAs, neighborhoods.
Right.
Let's invite the neighborhood over to the park and go. Because it's one of those things. If you don't know, I've never been on a hike. Some people never been on a hike, or they think they need to worry about animals or this or getting lost or this or that. So the more people we can get over there and kind of a guided, curated, I'll say, experience, I think the better, because all of a sudden people can get out there and start walking and be healthier and happier, and it's just all that, better to stop off at the park for a walk after a bad day at work than just going directly home sometimes.
Yeah, you mentioned one of the parks will is for you can ride your bike, and is that what I heard you say? He's frozen. Mr. Jones.
I'm here.
Okay. One of the parks you mentioned you could ride a bike?
Yeah. I am. My connection's bad. Can y'all hear me? I'm going to turn my video off. Maybe that'll help.
We can hear you.
Okay, maybe that might help. Yes, there are absolutely mountain bike riding on the trails at Campbellton Creek.
Okay.
And they're
Okay.
designed for that.
Okay.
They're designed for people to be able to walk and coexist with the bikers. But yeah, that's part of it. That mountain biking is a fabulous lifelong exercise that people can do. I don't personally do it anymore. I'm more of a walker and a hiker. I'm more of a dog walker. I like to go to a park and take a 2 or 3 mile walk, and I'm good. And I do it almost every day, to be honest with you. But yeah, but it is for biking, and the one over by Butner Road will be very much for that. But we're going to also have separate walking only areas, and we have a walking only area at the Campbellton Creek that leads to some boulders, and there's some bouldering where people climb these boulders, and we're developing that as the next thing. But we're also building a network of just walking only paths, again, at Campbellton Creek as well. It's easier to get money if it's for bikes, quite frankly.
Okay.
There's advocacy groups and money available for bike trails more than there are just walking trails. Just because the bikers are more organized, I think, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Up
I
front.
have
Excuse me,
a
I have a
bike.
question.
Go ahead.
Where can I find a map maybe of the area? Because I wanted to check it out and take my family over, but kind of wanted to scout it out first on a map or take a look
We
at
have on our Facebook page, and I'm as I say this, I'm gonna get off this call and make sure it's easy to find. I will repost the trail map on that. I did send a map to Deborah that we could somehow screen share, or if you want to just send that out to the group.
You sent it to me?
Well, I sent it, I'm sorry, I apologize. I sent it to, and I can't recall, the person that set me up to come here. But I'll be happy to, let me see how I can do that.
Hold on, let me.
But there is a trail map, and it's very difficult to get lost there. There's only one intersection on the trails. There's a main parking area that is the only open park. The other area it's gated right now. I don't know, Catherine. Yeah, there is a yes.
What did it say? There's a trail map.
There is a trail map
Trail
in the
map.
parking lot, and just now we finally have stabilized. We know exactly where everything is. So we've actually ordered the big official maps, and I'm trying to get them in by next weekend. We've got a little MLK Day on Monday, a little volunteer day we're doing out there. We're going to do a little litter pickup and some clearing of some invasive plants, and we're going to assemble some benches to put out, more benches to sit at.
How can we get in contact with you? Do we need to go through the Facebook page, or is there an email?
My email address and the Facebook page would work. Could I actually just our Facebook page, well, there's you can search for Southeastern Trust for Parks and Land. That's our main page. And then the Campbellton Creek Nature Park is the name of the Facebook page for the actual park. And I will be more than happy to put together an email with the trail maps, with some information about both parks, how to contact me, and if I could just send it to be sent out to the group, that'd be great.
If you can, this is Harvey Davis. If you can send it directly to me at harvey@sandtown.org, I can take care of posting all of that, as well as cross-posting your site on our Facebook page, which is Sandtown Community Association.
Harvey, I'm about to send, I found where he sent something to me as well. I'm gonna get you started with it. I'm about to send it to you now.
Okay, and Catherine just sent me a chat.
Yeah, and I've
Okay.
got your email address. Well, one way or another, we're going to get this.
Yep. I just sent it to you. It's sending, I sent it from my phone.
Right, I'm on the Facebook page now, so I'll take
Okay.
care of that.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Any other questions?
What if
Can
I'm not on social media? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not on social media, and so I want to know if there's another way to get access.
We
To
can,
the
If you're on our distribution list, we can send it out to that. If you're not, and you have difficulty signing up on our website, sandtown.org, you can send me an email and I'll add you to the group.
And your name is Harvey. What's your email address?
Harvey@sandtown.org works.
Thank you.
Debbie, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Apologize for being late, but I was taking care of a situation here. I have a question about the recreation presentation. I would like to know if there is any security out there when people are walking on the trails. Are you at your own risk? Because we have had a few high risk, well, I would put like this, a couple of, I can't think of that trail that's very long in Cobb County, where people have been assaulted and killed and stuff like that. Is there any security out there?
This is Bill. There is not security. I will say that one aspect of why bikes are good is when bicyclers are out on our trails, they travel obviously faster, so they're around more and they're more of a presence. But it is very much use at your own risk. I suggest maybe not coming alone. I will say what's different from like the Silver Comet Trail, as you've mentioned, is it's just not a long trail, you know, going from point A to point B. You're kind of in an area. So you're not really, you feel like you're off by yourself and you're in nature, but it is public. But like everything else in this world, you have to be careful. We've not had any incidents out there. We've had no problems in our parking lot yet. You know, enough people kind of coming and going, but no, there is not security. And that's not really something that we're a very small organization, quite frankly. We're small but mighty. That's not really the thing. I will say though that we have cameras. They're not live, but we have cameras in the parking areas just in case something happens. But we do see the city of South Fulton police coming through the parking area pretty steadily, which is really nice. We have talked to the city. We're trying to think, is there a way, do we do a call box? Is there something like that? You see that on university campuses and whatnot in places. Some parking lots have them. So we are considering that, but right now it is using your own risk.
Well, I ride my
But I
bicycle.
think you get a more usage, particularly with older people, if you were to put some security measures in place, because if you can't fight, you can't run, you don't want to have a gun, it's a problem. It is a potential problem. So I wish someone would look into that. I know that people are still spending COVID money, so maybe they can allocate, if that's possible, to that. I don't know, other than in administrative costs and salaries.
That's a good point. And I think for older folks, it'd be really great too, if we could get going and have like a time where you knew you could come there and there would be other people there with you. So maybe to kind of get some program going for if there's 5 or 6 people that like to hike out there, say, hey, let's all go at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But yeah, but be aware of surroundings. I don't go to a lot. I take my dog, and that's my little protection when I go somewhere.
I ride my bicycle at the Silver Comet Trail, but I never go by myself. I'm with the group, and usually with the bikers, it's a lot of people on the trail. You know, I haven't experienced any problems over there, but I do know I have heard of different things happening over there. It's such a long trail, because you can ride that trail all the way to Alabama.
Yeah, I know it was on that trail that I think, I can't remember the young lady's name, but Meredith or Melinda or something like that, because it was shown on one of those, shows at Dateline or whatever subsequent to that. And she was killed over there, and they had a heck of a time, finding the perpetrator for that. So that's why I say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I would hope that in making these trails and all these amenities available, that the county or whoever with the city would make sure that people feel safe using them.
Right.
That's my concern.
Those are all good points.
Oh, I'm
That
sorry,
woman
Mr.
that was killed,
Jones.
they filmed some of that thing on one of our nature preserves up in North Georgia. It's here nor there. I will say someone made a comment that it'd be great if there were markers out on the trail.
Mhm.
That's true. That is something else we can work. We can tell where you're at. It's a relatively condensed area, though. I will say that. It's 40 acres with, almost 3 miles of trails on it, and they zigzag back and forth. But it runs on either side of it is Riverside Parkway, or is it Riverside Drive, Riverside Parkway there, and Plummer Road. So it's fairly condensed. It's fairly compact, I should say. And when you're the furthest away from the parking area, you're actually very close to the Riverside Road, which is nice too. So it is really hard to get lost for that reason too.
I have another question. Councilwoman Roswell just said it's a privately owned. Do you all, does the park, the association, or whatever the group's name is, do you get any funds, any governmental funds at all?
We get support. I'll give you an example. We had a cleanup there the other day, and the city came and picked up the bags of trash that we all collected. So that is fun. It saved us money. But it's tricky for like the city of South Fulton to spend money because it is private land. But they have helped us acquire money from other people. And maybe this is a project, and we could get a committee together to help with it, of the Sandtown Community Association. How do we make this park safer, given the fact that it is owned by a small nonprofit organization that needs some help in that area? And maybe we could do a community fundraiser. If we could say, hey, we want to do call boxes, and maybe if we came up with a security plan, we could go out to the Sandtown business community and get some support that way. A lot of these things aren't that expensive. I will definitely put on my to-do list to continue to get, make sure people know when you're out on the trail where they're at. Maybe we need a few more markers. But again, it's pretty self-explanatory when you're there.
Well, when I just walk on Hamilton Road, there are two things that I've purchased that I carry with me, and that is the mace, the spray. You can buy it. I have a panic button thing that I carry on my lapel that makes and of course I have my phone. And so I think, when you're out, regardless if it's in the park or wherever you're walking and exercising, you've got to have some things for yourself. And I use it, and I sometimes, because there are dogs on Hamilton Road, sometimes I have a golf club. So I think we kind of have to think about what we can do individually when we do get out and enjoy the parks. And I do agree, maybe there is something we can do in terms of safety, but I would not suggest anybody go to any park by themselves. Number one, walk with somebody, have a partner, so they'll know where you are and tell your family where you are, and that kind of thing. So maybe we can also come up with some safety tips in using some of the parks that we can post and share best practices and between each other on how we can stay safe.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
The
This is
trail is paved, correct? The walking trail is paved, right? Or no?
No,
It's
oh
a
no,
natural
oh no, no, no,
trail.
no. It is
It's a
absolutely not paved.
natural trail.
Oh, it's not. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jones. This is exciting. I think Mr. Turner is on the line now, or on the call from the city of South Fulton. Mr. Turner, are you still having technical difficulties?
No, ma'am. Happy New Year. I'm here. I apologize. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
So first of all, let me say Happy New Year to everybody. I'm excited to be here, and hopefully you will invite me in after this short and brief conversation. But I'm excited to be here. My name is Tenard Turner. I'm the new director of Parks, Rec, and Cultural Affairs. I've been here about 7 or 8 weeks now, but I was formerly here about 3.5 years. I held the role of rec manager, and I left in FY 2018. I left, and I'm actually just coming back, settling in, and trying to see kind of what's going on. So let me start off by saying what I would like to do probably next month is have a presentation for you to kind of show you my strategic plan for Sandtown Park. We have a number of things and ideas that I'm trying to implement. Coach Pat is actually on the line, Patrick Swanson. He's actually the facility supervisor at Sandtown. He's been there for a number of years. I also have my operation manager, who is Tony Jordan, on the line, who will be assisting me with a number of my program initiatives. Also, I have on our Facebook page, I can also send it out via link. I'm starting my directors forums this month, and that just gives the citizens an opportunity to sit down with me one-on-one. We can do it via Zoom or Teams, or you could come to one of the facilities, and we just have that one-on-one conversation and talk about any issues or any concerns or any program ideas that you may have. So we'll start that up actually this month. I think next week we're starting that. I'm starting that initiative. And right now, just give you an update on terms of the rec center. Hopefully, I've been told we should be operational. I hope during the summer we're gonna prepare like we're gonna be open for summer camp programming. So that's pretty much it. So does anybody have any questions, any concerns, or anything for me? And if I can't answer them, Coach Pat is on the line as well as Tony Jordan.
Hey, I don't have any concerns. I do have a question though. Are you over Southwest Art Center as well?
Yes, ma'am. I am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my daughter goes to the summer camp every summer,
Yes, ma'am.
and for the 4 weeks, and we absolutely love it.
Yes, ma'am.
Our second year was last year, but the year before was our first, and there was such even a greater difference. It was even better the second time we went, so we're looking forward to it this year. When does sign up start?
So I'm gonna pass that over to Tony Jordan. Mr. Jordan, are you on the line?
Yes. Hi. Good afternoon. Good evening to everybody.
Hello,
Mr.
hello.
All right. So are you trying to sign up for a summer camp?
Yes, the arts summer camp where the
Yes,
children can
ma'am.
choose one different one each week.
All right. So how it works typically is that we have an 8-week fall session, we have an 8-week winter session, and then we have an 8-week spring session. And during the spring, they're all 8 weeks. So typically for summertime, which takes place the end of May going into June, and then the teen intensive program goes into July. So registration for summer camp will actually start in March.
Okay, thank you so much. We're looking forward to it. As I mentioned,
Yes,
it's phenomenal for our children, and I'm appreciative of it. Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Anything else for me? Anything?
Well, I will certainly have you on the agenda next month.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you can do your presentation. So look for that invite.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things I do want to add as a caveat, one of my biggest initiatives will be diversion. I think we have to start doing something to keep our teens off the street. It's too many teens that are dying to senseless violence. So one of my biggest initiatives is we're gonna do something similar to Atlanta. We will do our midnight basketball league, and we'll rotate them amongst the sites. But we have to do something in terms of these teams and mentoring programs and diversion. That's gonna be one of my largest initiatives, and that's something different from South Fulton. So I just want to let you all know that we are focusing more on teens as well.
Cool. Are there any other questions of Mr. Turner?
Mr. Turner, this is Councilwoman Rao. Can you talk a little bit about what's been going on at Sandtown recreation center and when we hope to have it back online?
Sure. So currently, when I came on, it was actually out for bid. I think they had a pre-bid meeting maybe about a week or two after I came on. And that's basically what we put it out for bid, where the potential bidders come out, look at the scope of work, figure out what they need to do. And right now they're actually in there. We actually had to clean it up, do a lot of things in terms of getting it ready. So hopefully, I've been told the summer, and like I said, we're preparing like it will be ready for the summer. One of the things that I've done in Dr. Rao, I don't think I told you this. I've been in contact with the Hawks. I know I talked about making one of those rooms similar to like a Hawks. The Hawks want to come in. They have a grant, and they want to bring in different chairs, sofa, maybe computers, TVs, and things of that nature in that game room area. To kind of they just want to sponsor us per se. And also, what I would like to do is I would love to have a music program downstairs, a real live studio. I'm working on a partnership with an organization, nonprofit organization that brings music into the rec centers, and it teaches kids how to write music. It also teaches them how to do engineering and things of that nature. So those are some of the programs, but we're hoping they're telling us the summer, so we're preparing as such.
How exciting. You need to have
Thank
an open house when it's all done.
Yes, ma'am.
We do.
Actually, that's the plan, to have some type of, I would love to have a grand opening or a block party or something to say welcome back. Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Mr. Turner? Well, Mr. Turner and Mr. Jones, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me, and hopefully you all invite me every month.
Oh, look, you have a standing invitation. I'll add you to the list and you can come. You don't have to call me or anything. Just join the call and I'll be glad to give you an opportunity to speak to the community. So thank you both for coming.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on to police and fire. Is Chief Meadows and Chief Jones on the phone, on the line?
This is Sergeant Gibbons with PD.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing this evening?
We're great.
All right. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. Just real quick, just a few of the things as far as crime stats are concerned in District 1. Just some good news. Crime is down 34% overall in District 1. Of the 8 Part 1 crimes, larceny from a vehicle is the only crime that's up a small margin considered to this time of last year. And these stats are coming from year to date from last week's the 53rd year of the year from last year. So larceny from a vehicle, and we all know larceny from a vehicle is basically someone breaking into your car and stealing something, and or someone just breaking into your cars. So we just try to give everybody safety tips like we do all the time. As far as the cars, try to keep your cars locked if you're parking them outside of the driveways or the garage. I'm sorry. If you're parking them outside in the driveway, outside of your garage, try to keep them locked at all times. Don't keep anything in plain view, coats, cell phones, computers, clothing items, or any of those things. The auto thefts is the second leading crime that's up a small margin in District 1. And again, because it's getting cold, we encourage everyone. I know everyone wants to warm their cars up, but it's a good idea, but it's a bad idea, especially when you leave it unattended, when you start those cars, because criminals are just riding around neighborhoods, and that's what they're looking for, a opportunity to take your vehicle. And that's how that happens so easily. As everyone may know now, in District 1, there's been a few incidents within the last couple of weeks, and there was another one on yesterday in District 1. I spoke to the detectives today pertaining the incident from yesterday, and what I can give you is some good news. The assailant that committed the crime last night, there was a shooting in District 1. The shooting, it started over at the apartment complex, 1475 Sand Bay. but the shooting actually took place in the clubhouse area on Sand Bay Drive. Uh, the shooting took place there, and the person that was deceased, he actually drove himself to the Waffle House where he actually he was found in the car at that point. There was only 2 people involved. The guy that shot the person that's deceased, he is in custody, which is some good news. Also, I've been working with the apartment complex on today, getting the information as it pertains to the person that did the shooting. He's a resident of the apartment complex at 1475 Sand Bay. So the leasing office is going to go ahead and violate his lease, which is some great news to get him out of the neighborhood and out of District 1, which is some great news. Also, most of the crimes that happen, if they're residents of the apartment complex or any apartment complex in District 1, what we've started to do is work with the leasing company to give them a small synopsis of the reports so they can use those reports to violate those tenants to get them out of the neighborhoods and move them into somewhere else out of the city of South Fulton. So we've started to implement that procedure now, which is great news for us and you guys as well. The shooting that took place, I believe it was about 2 weeks ago, it stemmed from, it was at the bus stop on Sand Bay, that's over before the apartment complex where the clubhouse is there?
Yes.
That shooting
Yes.
took place as a result of a auto theft from the apartment complex. Someone was warming their car up and a young guy got into the car, and she came outside to actually confront the person that was stealing the car. And he in turn took off and shot at her. So that was another isolated incident. I think to this day that person has been caught with that stolen vehicle and charges are pending for that particular individual as well. So those are the 2 incidents that's happened recently in that Sandtown area. Is there any questions about anything that you guys may have?
Yeah, this is
Just a
Donald
comment.
Barnes.
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
sir.
go ahead, Dom.
I'm the president of HOA for the Sandtown Center subdivision, which is next door to the apartment complex that we're discussing at the moment.
Yes.
Is there, when you single out the crime rate in District 1, can you go further and pinpoint to tell out of the 30% crime of City of South Wilson or 40%, whatever it is, can you pinpoint to tell us how much of that is coming from that apartment complex?
That apartment complex. Actually, I don't have those numbers now, but what I did this morning was, because on last night I got a call about it, about the shooting incident. So I talked to the apartment complex manager this morning, and for the year of 2021, I feel free to be as transparent as possible with this information because it's public information. There were 21 pages of 911 calls for that particular apartment complex. Of those pages, that includes all of the 911 calls, which may also include people just calling 911 for just general questions or information. And I'm going to start compiling that list or compressing that list on tomorrow once I get back to work, and sit down with the apartment complex manager to let her know of those pages, how many crimes are actually Part 1 crimes. And the Part 1 crimes are auto theft, larcenies, larceny from vehicles, burglaries, ag assaults, robberies, rapes, and murders. Of those 8 Part 1 crimes, we're going to be able to get the specific percentage of how many crimes are coming from 1475 Sand Bay. Also, I was afforded the opportunity, myself, Lieutenant Nick Williams, and 2 other officers from South Fulton. We went to some specialized training last year, which is called CEP-TED, which is Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And what that does is that gives us an opportunity to sit down with apartment complexes and homeowners, and we give them recommendations on how they can better keep their properties safer with cameras and lightings and all that. So what we're gonna do, Lieutenant Nick and myself, on Monday, we have a meeting scheduled for the apartment complex manager. And we're gonna sit down to walk the complex to give recommendations on places that they can actually put cameras, because the apartment complex has no camera. I'm sorry, they have cameras, but they're not working. They're outdated. There are no cameras on the apartment complex. The gates at the apartment complex, from time to time, they're broken because people ram the gates with cars. So we're working on that diligently, and we got a meeting planned on Monday to sit down to talk to the property manager about that. And she's going to take those recommendations and give it to the owners of the property. And I believe what we're going to try to do, if they're not utilizing these recommendations that we're giving them, we're going to see if we can come up with some, I guess, as code enforcement and policing, to sort of kind of make something almost like a nuisance, because there's a lot going on with that apartment complex. And I ride through there a lot.
So two more things.
Yes, sir. Yes.
In 2021, out of those 21 pages of 911 calls you received, probably 20 of them came from the homeowners in my subdivision for issues that we've been having with residents out of the apartment complex. So to that end, is it possible, first, is it possible for us to enforce some type of restrictions on the corporation itself to force them to rent to a better quality of people? And secondly, we've made this suggestion available before, and as a president, I want to make this suggestion available again.
Okay.
We have an office inside of our clubhouse that is vacant that can be used as a mini precinct if someone just wants to periodically throughout the day work out of that office. It is internet ready.
Okay.
It's available.
Okay.
If that would be an idea to curtail the rate of crime that we are receiving out of that company.
Okay, to the second part of that question, yes, this is my first time hearing about the clubhouse with the internet access for the police officers. So I can take that back to Lieutenant Williams, and he can take it to the captain, and captain can take it to major and chief. And I don't see a problem, just from the sergeant level. I don't see a problem with us utilizing the clubhouse from time to time, at least once a day, to just come through and sit our cars there with the lights on, to just go inside and do reports, or just sit in the parking lot of the clubhouse to sort of kind of deter some of that crime. I spoke to the first part of that question. I spoke to the property manager again last week, and she's a new property manager. I think Yami has been there for about 5 months now. She has implemented a new system to carefully screen some of those applicants that they're getting. So again, that goes back to the first part of what I said, as far as the tenants committing crimes. If we get a call in the middle of the night of a fight, of a domestic situation, I have the officers to notify me, and I go back and do some research to find out what apartment unit it was. I get with the property manager and say, hey, on yesterday we had a fight at this apartment. This is the second time. She immediately go ahead and violate their lease and give them maybe 30 to 60 days to move out. So the process as far as venting the tenants in that apartment complex has become a little bit better in the last 3 to 4 months since she's been there. The process with actually getting them in, the background checks, the criminal activities and all that, it has been a little bit better. But again, some of those issues that are stemming from those tenants in the apartment complex are some of the tenants that have been there for an extended period of time. So she's still doing her due diligence, as well as the police department. We're trying to work hand in hand to get it resolved as quickly as possible. Again, I appreciate the opportunity for the clubhouse usage. And speaking of the clubhouse, when I talked to Detective Allen earlier today about this shooting that took place, you guys have cameras at that clubhouse. I put her actual email address in the chat, and I'm putting mine in there now. If you guys can allow one of the detectives to come over sometime between tomorrow and Monday to maybe look at the videos, if the cameras are actually working, to see if there is some video footage to piece together everything about that shooting from last night, that would be very helpful to the detectives.
I'm sorry to cut you off. So this is Delphine. I'm also like the secretary, on the board, as well as the neighborhood watch coordinator.
Okay.
So hello.
How you doing? Ms.
How you doing? So I've been in contact with the detective. I've been in contact with Lieutenant Williams, and we're working together about the whole video and everything. But we have a neighborhood watch meeting scheduled for next Thursday.
Yep.
I don't have you on the list. I invite you as well.
Okay. And Lieutenant Williams didn't invite me because I'm off on next Thursday, so he's gonna take that meeting.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
off today, and I'm off next Thursday. So I'm his sergeant. He's my lieutenant. So we sort of kind of bounce off each other as far as supervision. So, but I told him I don't have a problem being on the meeting next Thursday. So he's gonna send me the invite in the morning when I come back.
Okay. Well, just to let you know, even with the recordings and all of that, I'm in touch with them, and yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you.
Okay, so that's already done. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, do y'all know if that community has gone through an ownership change?
The 1475 Sand Bay apartment complex.
Uh-huh.
You're asking, has it gone through an ownership change?
Uh-huh.
I believe it went through an ownership change about
Yes.
a year and a half ago, a couple of years ago. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
It was
that's
before the pandemic. It was right before the pandemic,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Because I think Dr. Rao, we had a meeting one time.
We had a
in-
public safety meeting.
Yep, over there.
Yeah,
And also I will get with, if it's okay with you, Dr. Rao, I will get with the property manager to see if we can do another meeting if you're available, and I can get with you to give you some dates that she have free, if that's okay.
Yeah, we can do another community-wide meeting, and I'm also on all the threads with Ms. Nav, so we are moving forward and developing a plan going forward. So yep, I think it is time for us to circle back.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I'm clear on that.
Miss Marbury has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Officer Gibbons.
Good
Juanita
afternoon.
Berry from Boat Rock Road. Good evening.
All right. Good evening.
Thank you. I thank you so much for your diligence that you've shown on Boat Rock Road, and also Councilman Rawell for being so cooperative and trying to help alleviate all of our problems on Boat Rock Road. This apartment complex happens to have a back entrance to Boat Rock Road. Are you familiar?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm very familiar with, and the back entrance you cannot get into the apartment complex without a key card.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So-
unfortunately, because I live here, I see everything. So
Okay.
the back gate is open quite often. And
Okay.
what I'm going to suggest, since we seem to have some severe problems going on,
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that the back, it's too many entrances to that one complex. I
Okay.
suggest that you close the back entrance, because I think that's where your problems are coming in, through the back door.
Okay. I can suggest that to the property manager, and maybe they can put a barricade in the exit and entrance of the rear entrance. But again, that may be a fire safety, a public safety issue as far as closing off one of those entrances. I'm not sure with that, but I can speak to someone from the fire department, maybe Chief Jones can elaborate on that, or somebody from fire can elaborate before we get into closing those entrances, because you may have to have a certain amount of points of egress because of the amount of apartment buildings or units in that particular complex.
Okay, would you investigate that? Because I think that's part of your problem, because there's no controls on the back entrance.
Yes, ma'am. And
The gates open
another
there.
part, to piggyback on that, another part of the problem is the camera system that I've been diligently trying to talk to Yami about, which is the flock camera system, for about 2 months now. It's a very inexpensive system that they just need to invest in, because they're tag readers, and it doesn't actually record everything that goes on per se, but at the gates, it will record the tags, the times they enter. If it's an expired tag, if it's somebody that's wanted, it will record all that information and send it straight to PD. So that could be a great tool to solve some of these other crimes that are happening, not just in District 1, but in the other areas of the city. So I'm still diligently working on her, or trying to persuade her to get her company to buy those cameras. And that way we can have some live feed almost in that apartment complex, which I think will stop a lot of those crimes. Because anywhere that a criminal thinks that he or she is being recorded, they're going to try to stay away from those areas. So that would be another good thing.
Does it
Okay.
also take a picture of the driver? Because if those people are committing crimes, they may very well be driving a stolen car or a stolen tag.
Exactly. Yes,
So
ma'am.
it'd be
Those
great
SWAT
if we
cameras
could
does all
also
that.
get a
Yeah, it
picture
does.
of those people.
It does, Miss Denson.
Oh, that's good. And,
Yes.
and while I'm piggybacking, I'm having a hard time finding the thing that lets me know to raise my hand, but I'm glad you can hear me anyways. I have a question. I noticed
ma'am.
that oftentimes we invite the chief and he never shows up. Now I know he probably doesn't have as much information as the front line, people on the line. I get that, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
do wonder why he never shows up at our meetings. Deborah, do you know?
Well, he was here last time, the
Was
last
he?
one we had, yeah. He
Okay,
comes.
okay, but I just wasn't aware. Now I might have been late the last time, or I might have missed it. But I just know we often have him there, and I don't see him. But that's okay. Now I have a few points or questions I would like to get answered.
Yes, ma'am.
Heading east on Camp Creek Parkway from here going out to the marketplace.
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that in the median, those things I guess that they have there, the barricade to keep it from going from one side to another.
Yes, ma'am.
So many of them have been damaged. And I think, do you know why? Because the reason why I asked that question is, I would say most nights between after midnight and maybe until around 4-ish, 5 in the morning, there is racing, a lot of car racing going, or vehicle racing, I put it like that, because I don't know if it's a car or a four-wheel or what it is. But anyways, but you can hear it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to know, what are you all doing to address, first of all, you're aware of that? And then what are you doing to address it? That's one concern. And then the other one was about, I think you made a comment about some of the apartments not having cameras.
Yes, ma'am.
And I wanted to ask, well, maybe this question might be for Councilwoman Rowell. Do you know if there is an ordinance that requires, and if it's not, is it possible to get an ordinance that would require that multifamily facilities, buildings, whatever, apartment complexes will have cameras? Because that's, I think, one of the better ways that we have to try to catch perpetrators. We can't have a police going on every corner, every 10 or 12 feet.
Right.
And it looks like, that would be helpful.
I will certainly look at that. I'm actually working on an ordinance right now that will require anybody who sells alcohol, whether it's a retail outlet or a venue, that they would have to have cameras on their property and a public safety plan. And so that's an amendment I'm working on to our current alcohol ordinance. And so this is something we can absolutely look at. I've already introduced, and it's already passed, inspections of multifamily dwellings, that they have to go and all the units have to be inspected. So this is something I can look at.
Well, I would appreciate that. I think this might help some to alleviate the problem that we're having with crime and apartment complexes.
Yeah.
And
And I think
also,
that he said that they have them, they're outdated. And the technology is so much better than when some of these apartments came in. So it's something we should talk about. And again, I'll be actively involved in these conversations, and we will be talking about to the property owners if we need to escalate beyond the property manager to the owners. And
well, even if they're current and not working, some people, they put things up and there's no filming, whatever it takes to get the picture. None of that is in there. So I think that not only should they have them, but they should be operational. And whatever picture that they take, should be
the quality and the like.
Yes, exactly.
We'll work on it. Again, it's a lot of hands on this right now. So I'm thinking it's something we're going to be able to work through. Like I said, in the past, they had been responsive. Again, we're going to address it, and there's some meetings scheduled. And we'll be working with the HOA board who originally reached out about this, and Ms. Naff and her team over there at Sandtown.
Okay, now would you allow him, if he if he could, to respond to the damage to those things in the media and also to the after midnight and early morning racing.
Yes, ma'am. I believe, Ms. Rao, correct me if I'm wrong, the media area is the Department of Transportation.
It is.
Okay,
It is.
so we can have the traffic lieutenant or the traffic division reach out to DOT and see if we can get those replaced and or repaired. The racing piece of that, as far as the racing up and down Camp Creek,
It's not
sometimes
on the Camp Creek, it's on Enon, it's on Union, it's on down by the Clippendale area. This way, you know, I know sound travels all around, but as
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can focus, seem like a lot of it's coming south of Camp Creek Parkway or going down Enon Road toward the Clippendale area.
Yes, ma'am. We have undercover officers and undercover units that actually get out and monitor areas from social media postings that they're gonna be doing the little drag racing things. So we have officers that are actually assigned to a detail that monitors the drag racing. And oftentimes they do bust a few of those guys who are out of drag racing. We've had a few of them in the last couple of months that were actually broken up in the last couple of months in the Camp Creek, Enon Road, Butner Road area.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. You're welcome.
We got two more hands up. I thought I saw Chief Jones.
Chief Jones.
hand.
Yes, I was about to say Chief Jones' hands was up, and it may have been up because of the gate closure that we were talking about. But I
Okay.
did see his hand up. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I took it down. This is Steve Jones. Good evening, everybody. I can address two of the questions. Yeah, so Sarge, if you get with the apartment manager and they want to secure that gate, just work with the fire marshal's office and inspectors, as
Okay.
long as we access. So they can put a chain, they can, lock the gate. However, we would just require like a Knox box with a key or a switch where we can only access it and then it opens the gate and goes in, things like that. So multiple entrances, as long as we have access, we just don't want to put like concrete barricades. But again, Donna Dingler can look at that. If they have 2 or 3 entrances, it may be something that we can shut down completely, but we would prefer to have it just locked in a Knox box. The other thing I can address real quick, I know the barriers on Camp Creek are the same as we have problems on South Fulton Parkway. And there is a GDOT representative for our area. When we address this on South Fulton, the problem is they get torn down quicker than they can repair them. We do tell the transportation when these are damaged and they get out as quick as they can. One thing for the association, I can get with the other councilman that had the contact. I just don't have it with me. You can invite the GDOT representative in and discuss Camp Creek Parkway and any concerns you have with them.
Yes, this is Charles Callahan. I kind of want to chime in on the racing that many of us in the District 1 experience, with cars up and down Camp Creek Parkway. I will say that the City of South Fulton Police Department has been very responsive to addressing or responding to those particular areas of concern when I have called. So, for, those in District 1, I would just encourage you just to continue to, keep our men and women in law enforcement and public safety aware of anything that you might hear or see in District 1, because it takes us, collectively in partnership with public safety, to really make our community safe and a place welcoming for everyone.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Callahan. Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
We have one more, y'all. It is 7:34.
Do you, quick, mine is really quick. Do you
Yeah,
have
go
stacks?
ahead.
Do you have stacks for car accidents for District 1?
No, sir. I don't have the actual stats for the District 1 accidents, the fatalities or accident. Do you want just accidents or do you want just the fatalities? What are you asking?
The accident is fine because, Reynolds Road and Camp Creek and Campbellton Road,
Yes, sir.
It seems to be, things happening there all the time.
Yes, sir. I don't have the,
That- oh.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So at my last town hall, GDOT reported, we've been working on this to try to get improvements made on Hamilton Road. If you recall, at one point, there were 2 lanes going across Camp Creek, across Camp Creek Parkway. They're going to reinstall that. Again, they're looking at a number of improvements along Hamilton Road. GDOT has indicated that they're 90% done with the design. My plan was to follow, because that meeting, of course, was last month. So hopefully they're ready to move forward. But that's a key thing. We've been talking about the accidents on Hamilton Road for far too long. So they are going to make investments in the area. Like I said, they're at the design phase. And also you should see in the next couple months at the latest, the traffic calming which they've approved for the intersection of Stonewall Tail and Hamilton Road.
Wonderful. I was gonna ask someone to make sure everybody put your phone on mute when you're not talking, because we hear the noise in the background. I see a Mr. Gibson with your hand up.
Yes, I just have a question about, I want to go back to the idea to close the gate to the apartments on Boat Rock Road. So I'm wondering do we have any maybe evidence or anything to show that really will curtail the problem? Because it sounds to me like whomever is going in that gate will just come around to the other side, which is going to make more traffic, more people, more cars coming in, speeding down the street, coming into Sandtown Center to go to the apartments on that side by the clubhouse. So is there really something will that really work to help curtail crime?
Well, okay, so the gate that's on Sandtown there, it's a card access gate. Oftentimes, more times than not, the gate is not working. So the gate is left open. Since the new property manager has been there, she's done a decent job at having the gate company come out to lock the gate. So the thing is, if the gate is working properly, only 1 or 2 cars can go in at a time. So with the back gate being closed off of the back street there, that would sort of kind of stop the problem with so many strange folks or just unknown folks coming into the complex. But again, what those people have been doing is they ram the gate to keep the gate open at all times. So that may not be a great idea. What I suggested to her was cameras, a security guard, and better gate system, which allows the gate to open. 1 car comes through, and there's this mechanism that comes out of the ground to puncture your tires if you try to tailgate, which means that if I come through the gate with my access card and another car is behind me, if he or she tries to come through the gate, the spikes in the ground will actually puncture your tires. There are a couple of other complexes in the city that have those type of gates, and they have very little to no crime.
We need to put that in our zone, or we need to put that in the ordinance then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that.
And that sounds like a more viable option to me in order to curtail crime than just closing the other side of the gate on the other side, because it just sounds to me like people are going to come through the front entrance or whatever entrance I guess that's called, and just ram the gate and open up to keep it open.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Yes.
Ms. Gibson, let me speak to Ms. Gibson. Ms. Gibson, what's happening on the back side of the gate is that there is no office back there. It's like a just empty, dead zone. There's no supervision. The gate is left open. The other gate is right next to the office. So they're somewhere monitoring and seeing what's going on at that particular gate. But the back gate that we're talking about on Boat Rock Road, there is no supervision. No one's there. They're just coming and going. What they're doing is parking on the side of the road. They'll wait till one car goes in and the other cars will go in behind them. There's no controls on the back side of that building, none.
I understand that. Thank you for your perspective. It sounds to me like the two shootings that happened on the side where there is the office, there is the gate. So I'm just trying to figure out if there is something that's going to give us a bigger bang for our buck, a more viable option to actually curtail the crime that's happening. Because I don't know, I've only been here a year, but the two things that I've just heard about that just happened, happen on this side by the office, by the gate that's supposed to be locked.
They probably came in the back gate.
Can I suggest something? Because again, Sandtown has a pretty aggressive agenda. I assure you that there is a team, the police department, the chief is aware. We already have a meeting scheduled to look at this, and we really need to let the data inform the solution. And you know, if we want, we can bring that information back, because we know we meet next month, just to respect people's time. But I assure you, it is a priority that we address these issues in this apartment complex. And I do intend to have a town hall as we previously had. But again, we want to make sure we go into that meeting with the information. I know in the past, previously, it was a lot of people coming in and stealing cars out of that complex. So I don't want it to be, you know, it's all about the residents. We really need to look and see what's going, dig deep. And so we're committed to that.
Well, with that, I appreciate that. It's 7:41 and I'm trying to move through the agenda. Ms. Warren, I'm gonna skip you right now. At this point, I got two people in to talk about some developments. Mr. Bailey and Mr. Britton. Mr. Bailey, are you on the line?
Yes,
On
ma'am,
the
I'm
call?
here. How are you this evening?
I'm good. Mr. Bailey is working on a development off of Fulton Industrial, and then Mr. Britton, if you're on the line, you can go after him. And then Ms. Warren, I will pick you up after Mr. Britton if you're on the line. Go ahead, Mr. Bailey.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. My name is Henry Bailey, counsel for the applicant that has filed a rezoning application along Fulton Industrial Boulevard, 0 Fulton Industrial Boulevard. The nearest intersection is with Kendall Park Lane. The application is to rezone the property from OI to MI for the redevelopment of an undeveloped parcel, or the development of an undeveloped parcel, excuse me, with a warehouse distribution type use. We came before you all back, before the leadership back in August or at the end of July in 2022, right along the same time when we were filing the rezoning application. Since then, we have had we wanted to take the opportunity to come back before you all because our case has been pending for this time because there was an issue with compatibility with the future land use plan. And now that compatibility issue has been worked out, we are coming back to you just to give you an update, to let you know where we are in the process, to let you know that we're going forward to planning commission in the next couple of weeks, and we'll give you dates here in a second, and take any questions you might have if you have any new questions since we've last seen you, your leadership team. Evan, you on the line?
Yes, I'm here. You should be able to see my screen, yes?
I can't see it. I'm looking at, I'm still looking at the agenda.
You can share it now. We see it now. We got it.
All right, there you go. Okay, so and we'll just run through this. Can you scroll up to the first page? All right, here we go. So I just want to run through this really quickly. This is a presentation similar to what we provided the first time we were before you all. Just introducing the team, the client, Bridge Logistic Properties, represented by Greg Bowler, Eddie Santa Maria. Can you scroll to the next page, Evan? myself, who is the counsel for the applicant at Morse, Manning and Martin, then Antonio Sample, who's done the civil and site planning information. And a bit of, again, of the project overview. Go to the next page, please. We're located on Fulton Industrial Boulevard in the area that is highly industrial as it is right now. It's one of the most targeted and sought after areas for industrial uses in the Southeast and more broadly. Again, the location of the property is right at Kendall Park Lane and Fulton Industrial Boulevard. The request is to change the zoning from OI to M1 to accommodate the development of the property with a warehouse distribution type facility. You might be familiar with the area as the Crow Holdings site, as shown on the location aerial, is immediately adjacent. You got Camilton and Fulton there, and then the Bosch facility is across the street also. Go on to the next slide, please. Again, here's our proposed site plan. I just want to make it clear that a portion of this site is not being rezoned. It's that area shown in red that is being retained by the seller. The balance of the site is the area that is the subject of the rezoning request that is pending before the Planning Commission at this point. Total acreage is about 32 acres, and we're looking at about 136,000 square foot light industrial facility with 32 dock doors, plus or minus, and then 30 trailer parking spaces, plus or minus. Again, this is a warehouse distribution type use, and the proposed tenants will be sort of restricted to the lesser intense light industrial zoning, which is the M1 zoning. You won't find uses like you might be permitted to use under the heavy industrial M2 zoning. Next slide. An example of what the building will look like, at least a portion of it is what you see on the screen. Very modern looking building with clean landscaping and clean lines, and with an environmentally sensitive design approach. Go ahead. Again, we're going through this rezoning to sort of capture the market demand here. Again, Fulton Industrial, this area of Fulton Industrial for sure is highly sought after area for industrial uses. We're anticipating the creation of 50 jobs or more. Tax revenue increases from $11,000 now to approximately $11,000 now, where the site is vacant and undeveloped, to approximately $210,000, which represents a 19 times increase. And due to the size of this facility, you'll find minimal additional truck traffic on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. And we will be respecting the environmental nature, the existing environmental features and nature of the site. Coming up, we've got some key dates that I want to make sure that you all are aware of. January 25th, we'll be in front of Planning Commission. February 14th, we'll be at the City Council zoning hearing and the public hearing. And then February 28th, we'll be at the City Council regular meeting. And with that, I will take any questions that you all might have.
John, is there an opportunity for employment? I mean, for the area, for people in the area to apply? Are you working with the city of South Fulton for jobs?
Yes, and Ms. Davis, I'll chime in on that. Greg Bowler here. Greg, speaking with you again. Happy New Year. Yes, we already are speaking with economic development and now around kind of workforce. I mean, one of our biggest things is getting the MARTA bus stop extended along Fulton Industrial, which it does sound like that's already in process, which will ultimately help as far as employment. But yes, that will be our goal, is tapping into the local talent as far as blue collar labor.
Hey, Greg, can we take that a little further? For the construction of the building, for the maintenance of the building once it's completed, for the construction of landscaping and maintaining the landscaping once the building is completed, are you guys willing to look at a list of local vendors?
Yes, yeah, at the subcontractor level as well as at the lead. I would say we always do lead for our buildings as well. So from a sustainability standpoint, we'll also be looking with local, and that might have to go obviously outside of city of South Fulton. You might have to just keep it within Atlanta area, but yes, that is the goal.
So it's not bordering up against any residential, from what I could tell. It's over there by the Crow property, right?
That's correct. It's right next.
Okay.
It's called a West Fulton Commerce Center. Whereas those 5 buildings that have just recently been constructed. So we're literally right next to it if you're coming south on Fulton Industrial before you get to Camilton. Is literally right across from Bosch as well.
Do we have Ms. Gibson? I see your hand up. Or
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Awesome. Are you saying Denson? What are you saying, Debbie?
I just saw Gibson. I didn't see your hand, Ivory.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Miss Benson, you can go. I had it raised by mistake.
Okay.
Okay,
No
I
problem.
have a question. The gentleman making the presentation focused initially on what the tax revenues currently and what they would be if that land were developed. Now, for the number of years that I've been living in Fulton County and having gone to a lot of board meetings in the past, my experience has been that most of these companies are given they're exempt from paying taxes for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or what have you. And after that time has expired, they up and move to another sucker. And they wind up not paying any taxes at all. But yet they are getting the benefit of what the amenities the other taxpayers are paying for. So my question is, what assurances do we have that whatever facility is put there, that they're ever going to be paying taxes, or if they won't do what has historically been done, and that is go from one municipality to another when your tax, whatever, I can't think of the word right now, but anyway.
Deferment?
It's a
Yes.
it's a tax allocation district, and Catherine, Councilwoman Rao, perhaps you can weigh in, but I don't believe there is one there.
No.
We, the city of South Fulton is not giving any tax incentive, and that's been the case since we've been the city. We, through the development authorities, if in fact, and we haven't done any deals on Fulton Industrial because the market is so strong. I think we're at something like 90% occupancy on Fulton Industrial.
98.
At one time, there was, a lot of vacancy, but that's no longer the case. So that's just not the current state. There are no tax incentives and no tax breaks that we've issued.
And I would also like to add that, we're not requesting for any tax abatement at all. Actually what we want to do is actually pay additional taxes into the CID of the boulevard to improve Fulton Industrial a lot more, to just continue the process of making it safer, providing more mass, transportation as well, and beautifying the area. So if anything, we're going to pay more taxes out, to help the overall improvement of that area and that corridor.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions?
I will say I'm glad to hear that, because if residents don't know, there's a whole redevelopment plan at work on Fulton Industrial. We just approved money at the last council meeting for some streetscape along and sidewalks around Fulton Industrial around the Cascade area, as well as the fact that if you go towards 20, right at the interstate, which is, where our boundaries stop, you'll know that we're working with the Development Authority of Fulton County. Most all the hotels have been closed, the gas station, the Valero, the McDonald's, because there's a RFP for a master developer to redo that whole interchange right there, which I'm very excited about, because there is a lot of work to do, but it's a lot of hands on deck to change the way Fulton Industrial looks. And that CID, if he's committed to that, those business agreed to tax themselves 3 additional meals to make that happen. So I'll just say that.
Great. Do we have any other questions about this development? So, what is it that you're looking for from us?
I think overall, we really just wanted to provide an update.
Okay.
You know, just kind of sharing with you guys because it has been a while.
Yeah.
You know, since we spoke with you and letting you know that the future land use map now is compatible for industrial, and so from a standpoint of support, you know, for it, we would love to have you guys support at the following meetings that we do have with the Planning Commission at the end of this month, as well as with the council next month. But obviously, if there's any other questions or concerns in the meantime, we're happy to address those as well.
Does anyone have, Ms. Gibson, you got your hand up?
Yes, ma'am, I have it at this time. Can you go back over how this is going to affect traffic? I heard you say a little bit, but I'd like to hear that again, please.
Yeah, our building is only 136,000 square feet, and so it's not a significant amount of additional traffic onto Fulton Industrial, which is already a heavily trafficked area for industrial. So it's pretty small.
Your hand continues to be up, Ms. Gibson. Did that answer your question?
A little bit. I don't know what small means, but I guess it.
Well, a lot of the buildings along Fulton Industrial for the most part are, you know, 200,000 square feet on up to millions. All right. And so, you know, for us being at only 136,000 square feet, it's a very small building. And so it's not going to allow for much additional truck traffic because it's not a large building. But either way, it's still going directly onto Fulton Industrial. Nothing is going on to Camilton Road. We're actually about 12 football fields away from Camilton Road. And so if you do want, ultimately, industrial is definitely needed from a standpoint of tax revenue, and then the services that are provided. But, you know, in that same standpoint, it's pretty de minimis in the scale of what's already there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we want to thank you for coming and giving us an update. And if there are no other questions for them, we will move on. Is Mr. Britton on the phone, on the line?
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here with my partner,
Okay.
Ronnie Milner.
Go ahead, Mr. Britton.
Okay, I want to first thank you all for giving us this opportunity to present Super Suds Car Wash to you all and the Sandtown community. And we have a brief PowerPoint that we would like to go over to show you what's going on. Can I have permission to share the screen, please?
Donald, can you give him permission?
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yeah. Yeah.
A little technical difficulties. Ms. Deborah, we sent the email to you earlier. Did you receive that from us?
Hold on, let me go. Hold on, let me see if I can find it right quick.
I just put my email in the chat. If you would like to send it to me, I can present for you.
Okay. Let's see.
Let me know when you send it.
I'm actually trying to get out of the screen that I'm locked into. We'll just hit share, see if that's it. Okay, what's your email?
BARNED as in dog 01 at gmail.com.
Donald, I just sent it to you as well.
Hello,
I
can you hear
just found it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. You hear me?
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to navigate through this. I'm kind of new to this Zoom thing.
Donald, I sent it to you on email form.
Okay, I appreciate the Ms. Davis.
And I apologize, I didn't realize you had sent it to me. But yeah, you should have it, Donald, now. It's called Super Suds Car Wash.
Yeah,
This is how-
it hasn't come in yet. I have it now.
Okay, thank you. All right, there you go.
My name is Ronnie. I'm one of the owners of Super Suds Car Wash. We want to just take this time to thank you once again for letting us be part of y'all's meeting this evening. Actually, I'm from McDonough, Georgia. I have built and operated 7 car washes in the Henry County, Conyers, Tucker area. I have about 25 years of car wash experience.
Uh-oh, he's gone.
We can't hear.
You can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Like I said, my name is Ronnie. I wanted to take this time to thank you once again for giving us an opportunity to be part of this meeting with you guys tonight. I have ran and operated 7 car washes. This particular car wash right here that we have is off of, the address is 2563 Panola Road. We opened up last year, October the 21st. It's going on about 15 months. This particular car wash here have been in operation. As you look at the marquee sign there, hours of operation, it's Monday through Saturday from 7:30 to 8 and Sunday from 8 to 7. If you go to the second picture there, it's going to pretty much show the stacking area. We actually able to stack 20 cars in the stacking area. There's the cars that you're actually pulling off the highway, which is coming off Panola Road to keep traffic and stuff from backing up into the street there. If you go to the second picture, you see the pay station kiosk. We actually have 2 of them. We actually able to process 69 cars at each pay station kiosk, which we have a total of 2 of them. You go to the second lane there, it's pretty much the same thing. It's processed 69 cars at any particular time. And that's just pretty much keeping the traffic that's flowing at a very consistent pace. Coming off Panola Road into the stacking area. Once they come out of the stacking area, the third picture is just showing a picture of the pay station itself. The pay station itself is pretty much gonna price menus. We have menus out there that display the prices of the washes, which start off at $10, $15, $20, and $25. Along with that, we have our monthly club plans. Our monthly club plans only can be purchased on a credit card, and those plans are recurring on your credit card each month automatically. Anytime a customer decides they want to cancel their club plan, either they can email us or they can just stop by there. We try to put it in our email notation that please identify us within 2 days you would like to cancel your plan. After the customer actually come out of the pay station kiosk area, we have additional stacking, which we can stack another 8 cars from the pay station kiosk before they actually enter into the building. And let me back up to the pay station kiosk. Now, Monday through Thursday, we keep an attendant out there from the time we open up to the time we close at night, to be out there to assist any customers that may need any help. Anything that they're not too sure about, someone that is very knowledgeable of the washes, the club plans, and any questions that the customers or concerns that he or she may have that they won't answer. So as we enter into the additional stacking area, we have a prep area. This prep area back here in the back, what we normally do, we keep 4 guys back here. We got Kingston valves, and Kingston valves is basically where you're gonna spray the vehicle down when they first pull out. We're gonna prep the front of the vehicle. We're gonna prep both of the mirrors. We're gonna prep the rear of the vehicle, which is around the tag area. Wiper blades, back windshield. Once that process is finished, they will enter into the wash. We have a person right here that's going to be standing on the left-hand side, which is a keypad there. And that keypad, once that person right there actually direct the customer up on the track, they will explain to them to put their vehicle in neutral, take your hands off the steering wheel and put off the brakes. And I'll always try to make sure that the employees is making eye contact with customers to make sure he or she are very comfortable when they're coming up on the track. Once he or she put their vehicle in neutral, we press a button to release that vehicle. And this here is just basically going through the wash. And as they exit out of the wash, we have a vacuum stalls. We have a total of 37 vacuum stalls. That's not showing the ones on the front, but we do have some more vacuum stalls up by Panola Road. My management staff, I have a total of 4 managers, 2 shift managers that is on duty at all times. And I understand the car wash business, the pluses, and I understand the minuses about it. A car wash is one of the second big investment that consumers make. So I understand customers' concern. I understand running and operating a car wash. The other photos is just basically some pictures of the car wash. On the side right here, we have an area just for vending, which is on the left. On the right-hand side, we have an area where you can either shampoo your floor mats or you can just run them through a mat cleaner without having them shampooed. The vacuum area, this canopy here is actually 100 feet long. You got vacuum stalls on the front side and the back side. Along with having the vacuum stalls, we have an area out there where we have we do free towels for cleaning. We have air out there where customers can blow in between their seats or cubby holes or vents. We have window cleaner. We offer complimentary tie shine. Just say if a customer come out and you know, they want more tie shine, and they're not too happy about how the tires look, then we have an area where he or she can go and add more tie shine to their tires. This is just going to be the office area on the back side of the building. The two sites that we actually inquiring about is located at the bottom of the photos here. I have about 15 years of management experience with Wendy's International, and I understand very dearly about running and operating a business. Even at Wendy's, I always try to tell employees, you know, customers come in and they want, you know, 5 ketchup packs or whatever, give it to them. And the reason I'm saying that, I try to make that same point of view with washing cars. If a customer come in and they're not happy, give them a rewash, give them a coupon. But when that customer leave out a Super Suds car wash, I want that customer to be very happy and very pleased with not only the service, but how they was treated. Because I want Super Suds car wash to be a car wash of choice. When different individuals wake up in the morning time and they think about, well, what can I go get my car wash at? I want them to think about Super Suds car wash. Because for number one, I tell my managers and I also explain to my employees, I don't work off of quantity, I work off of quality. I don't care if it takes 2 extra minutes or 5 extra minutes. If something's on that customer car, I want it off. I want that customer to be happy when they leave out, and I want that car to be happy when they leave out too.
Mr. Milner,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me, where is that? What's the location?
This location is at 2563 Panola Road.
No. On the map, you're showing in Sandtown. What's that? Where's that location?
It's not showing that partials is
It's public Sandtown.
public Sandtown. My partials is real small here that Sam sent over to me. But the partials is the daycare, not the daycare, but that piece right across from the daycare that's on the backside of the, I guess the backside of the Publix right there on that side entrance street.
At the corner of Union Road, Riverside, and Hamilton Road, in front of the daycare?
Not in front of the daycare. If you coming out, I don't know the streets myself here, but if you're coming out of Publix, going to that side road, it's gonna be that piece of property to the right.
That's Riverside Parkway.
It's on the other
Going
side.
down Riverside Parkway towards Plummer Road. They'll be on the right-hand side, right before you get to Plummer Road, going into the entrance of Publix. And it's 2 parcels right there. It's one on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side.
Debbie, it's where the trucks go into Publix, where the 18-wheelers go into Publix.
Right next to that new apartment community that's being built.
Yes.
Across the street from there, yes, ma'am.
Across the street from them.
Well, yes, it'll be across. It'll be on the opposite side, as he said, going into the entrance where the tractor trailers turn in to go into the backside of Publix. It's right there. It's 2 parcels right there. One on the right.
That end, and you go up, okay, so if I'm coming down Hamilton Road, across Camp Creek, I pass Sandtown Crossing, I go up to the light, there's Union Road to the left, there's Riverside Drive to the right. I turn right.
Yes,
I go down, the entrance into Publix is on the right. When you get to the end of that street at the stop sign, that's Plumer, then you're talking to the left.
No, ma'am, it's before you get to Pullman. So it's the second entrance of Publix. You have the first entrance that's next, that goes in next to that daycare. And then the second entrance goes into the Publix. So that parcel is right there in that entrance of the Publix on the left-hand side.
Oh, it sits right next to the public?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord. Hmm. It's a vacant parcel right there next to where they have the salad bar and across the street from that daycare that's in Sandtown Crossing.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's closer to Riverside Drive. I believe I know which parcel you're talking about. That's up near CVS.
No, not that side. It's off, if you go to Publix and you facing Publix, you can go out to the left. You can go out to Riverside Drive over there on the left there, and that's at the end where the left side of Publix. There is a big vacant lot right there on the right. If you go in front of Publix and go out on that side, is that where it is, Councilman Rao? You know where I'm talking about.
If I'm not mistaken, it sounds like it's maybe where Arden's garden, on that
Yeah.
backside where Arden's garden,
Yeah,
in that vacant cleared land. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, it's two parcels right there. It'll be
Yeah.
the one that's in front of the retention pond. You can actually see it in that photo that's up now. It's circled.
So
Okay.
is it part of Sandtown Crossing?
Yes, it's from he's saying it's in front of the detention pond. It's kind of hard on the screen because I don't know if y'all see it, it's really big. But from what I can gather, he's talking about, you have Arden's garden, you had a parking lot, and then you have a patch of land that's not yet developed.
right,
It's actually circled in red. That's the one that's circled in red right there.
right, but it's next to
But we can't
Arden's garden. And,
Yes.
and it's vacant. And that
Yeah.
piece is vacant. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, it's
Well, I'ma be-
1.6
well,
acres.
I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all. Now, somebody tried to put a car wash further up right there at the corner of Riverside Union in front of that daycare on that little piece of property.
Right, yes, ma'am.
And the consensus of the community, and I think it's still the same, we're trying to make the Sandtown Crossing not to have a car wash there. And we got a car wash right there off of Fulton Industrial. We got a car wash right there off of Hamilton Road. We got a car wash down there off of Camp Creek and
Miss Thomas, Miss Davis, we have 5 within 3
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah, we do. We got a lot of car washes in the area, and in the Sandtown Crossing piece, that whole development, that's the type of business we did not want there. We want to keep it more retail, more, it's just our town center. And we didn't support the car wash that was on the other end of it. So I don't know if the community has anything to say. Anybody else? Go ahead, Ms. Marbury, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Miss Davis. Yes, I did want to speak. And like you, Miss Davis, I've been in the neighborhood for a long time, almost 40 years. And we have this great opportunity to build this wonderful city that we've been building. And we want to build our city and choose wisely. We have 5 car washes already within 3 miles. It would be absolutely absurd to use our land mass on something that's so redundant. I don't know if Mr. Milner has did his research to know that we already have this level of service in the area, and it wouldn't make any sense. I will not support it.
Well, that's just one of the reasons why we wanted to, meet with you guys and, just get your feedback and your concerns. And we definitely are very open to what you're sharing with us. We just, want to meet with y'all and see whether it's something that y'all would support. But my car wash still, I understand your concerns, but I would love for y'all to just go and look at our reviews. Our car wash is not ran like High and Ward car wash that was on Fulton Industrial. I'm not a silent operator. I'm hands-on. I'm actually there, making sure that you guys getting exactly what you get. And I don't macromanage. I'm there at my car washes. But once again, I understand y'all concerns very dearly.
Well, I'm more concerned about the location. I
No, I
mean, it may be a good thing to have at a different location within the city, but not that close to our town center. And like I said, we've had a car wash to be presented to us just right there on the other end of that, right at Hamilton and Union and Riverside, right in front of the other daycare.
Right,
And
yes,
the community did not, didn't want that type of business in our center, in our town center.
Well,
But there could be another location in the city where it would work.
Okay. Well, looking at the car washes in that area there, I'm pretty sure I understand why. But like I said, thanks again. Thanks so much for just sharing your concerns and do you have any area particular that we may have an opportunity to actually look at or look in or?
Before you go, Ivory, I see your hand up, and Miss Marbury and Ivory and then Miss Marbury. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to also say that my reaction to it when the presentation started was it's kind of like a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. And I too had identified, some of the car washes in our area. And I think that is not, as you said, that is our town center. And that is not the type of business that I would like to see there.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
we saw the one over on Panola Road, and that's a huge one over there. And it would bring so much traffic. And we talked about the problem with the crime in the apartment and all that kind of stuff. I just think that it would not enhance our community at all. And so I personally would be opposing it and do oppose it.
No, that's no problem. I understand. But once again, we have not had any problems at my car wash, but I'm not gonna keep going back and forth based on what you're sharing with me, sharing with us. We'll just continue to try our best to look in the area and bring it back to you maybe at a later date and see if it's something that you guys would support. And once again, I would like to just thank all of you for just taking the time to meet with us and just listen to us. But in your pleasure, your time, take a look at our reviews. We have some of the highest reviews out of all the car washes in the Atlanta area. And the reason I say that, I would just like for y'all to look at it. I don't run my car washes like other operators do. Like I say, I'm there, I'm hands-on. I'm not an absentee operator. But I would love to look elsewhere and meet back with you guys maybe at a later date if we had the opportunity to find something.
Could you give us the location of the one on Panola Road again?
It's 2563 Panola Road.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else that has questions?
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Marbury would like to
Yes,
speak
ma'am.
again. I heard his suggestion. Now we have too much of a good thing. But we do have a car wash that just sold on Camp Fulton, that he missed an opportunity right there. He could very well purchase that one that is working right now. So maybe he need to look at some of the areas that we already have a car wash and try to purchase one of those. Because we just have 5 within 3 miles. Maybe he can purchase one that's already open.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. I know which wash you're talking about, the one right there that Heinz Ward used to have, but I don't know exactly what it sold
He
for.
provided an excellent service. He really did.
Yeah.
Like
Matter of fact, Heinz used to come to one of my washes in Stockbridge, but you don't know what it sold for, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, I just, you have to take up.
I believe it's actually for lease right now.
Yeah, you have to take up what they selling price for and then going in there remodeling and stuff like that. So it can still be very costly. But like I say, I really just want to thank y'all again.
Okay,
Thank you dearly.
Thank you, Milner.
Yes, ma'am. And y'all have a wonderful, and hopefully that, in the future that we have an opportunity to meet back up again.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you. Y'all have a good one and take care now.
All righty.
Okay, y'all still want y'all look at my reviews, you get a chance.
We will.
All
As a
righty,
matter of
take
fact,
care
we'll
now.
probably go by and visit the one you have on Panola.
Please still, just remind me, if you ask for me, I'll make sure I take care of you when you're there.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
y'all be good. Take care now.
Where would
Okay.
we find
All
the
right, yes,
reviews?
ma'am.
Where would we find the reviews?
Just go on, Google and pull them up on the Super Suds Car Wash.
The what? Super what?
Super Suds Car Wash.
Okay, thank you.
All right, y'all take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wilson, everyone, good night. Okay, Ms. Warren, are you on the call?
I am.
Oh, how are you? Happy New Year. Thank
Happy
you
New
for
Year
your
to you.
patience.
Okay. So I'll be brief. Thank you guys for having me as always. A lot of things that were echoed in, especially with the police chief and concerns about crime. Some of this spills over into the schools, and I'm going to start very quickly with, we have finished redistricting, but we are on the cusp of verifying at Westlake High School. And before I talk about that, I'm going to give you some data on how we knew that Westlake High School was overpopulated. At the end of last year, we usually send things by certified mail to our high schoolers. And at the end of last year, we got about 400 pieces of mail sent back to us at the district office. And it was for rising ninth graders and for current 10th graders. And so that alerted to us that there were kids who were using addresses where they no longer lived. And so looking at that data, and we had done one up in North Fulton at Webbridge because there were people turning in, the kids did not go to that school, weren't supposed to be at that school. And so one of the first things that we did starting in probably October, early November, where we started to go through and look at the data of where kids were coming from. So Westlake holds capacity at about 1,800 students. Really, you can get about 2,000 in there with some of our portables and just some of our creative uses of classes. But one of the things that we realized was that we had lots of kids who had never been in Fulton County schools from K through 8 who were showing up at Westlake to be enrolled. I'm going to read to you guys just some things that we found. And this is from beginning of December for when people had to start verifying to as of yesterday. Henry County, DeKalb County, Clayton County, APS, Gwinnett, Douglasville, Paulding County. I think that's it right now. These are all of the various counties who are not in Fulton County where we found students at Westlake High School. So I've gotten a lot of calls from people who, I've gotten two sets of calls. Parents who are saying, Westlake is overcrowded, what are we going to do? But also from parents who are saying, we have kids at our school that we know are not residents of Fulton County, what is happening? And one of the things that we talked about at board meeting is we think Westlake is a great school. I've had 2 kids come out of there. And for every student that attends Fulton County without any additional services, we spend about $11,000 on each student. That's just bare public education. And so when we started to look at the number of students that we suspected, we have spent the last month and a half verifying. One of the things that we've come into question with is we had lots of people who, of course, showed up, never been in Fulton County schools, but were not living anywhere. We had people make leases that were not real. We've seen situations where people were trying to rent out rooms for families to use their addresses. And so tomorrow stops the final verification at Westlake, and we'll be tying up some loose ends, but it has been 11,000 annually, Mr. Davis. And so it has been very eye-opening as a parent who has a child at Westlake. We had our entire team, for those who had not been up there, we had a team of about 30 to 40 people from Fulton County, and every parent was given based on their last name and appointment, and they came in and they brought their documents. We are looking, when we finish this, we will have the number that is supposed to be at Westlake, which would be about 2,100 students. right now, one of the things that we have been reconciling our information with is making sure that the students we identify that are out of district, the students who are not supposed to be there, who should be going to school in their district, is making sure that we're looking at where siblings go so that we can make sure that we're saving those spaces for residents in our community. This does not have to do with magnet. If you're a student in the Fulton County Schools attendance zone, you can go there. But I'm mentioning that because there will be other verifications at other schools. What we have found is that our policy in Fulton County is a little loose with registration, and there are some holes in it. And so as we go through and we're looking at our policy, this has been really concerning as a parent, as a taxpayer. And so we have spent the last 3-4 months like digging deep into the data. Some of the things that the principals have shared with me is that per Georgia law, when kids register, you have to give them, if they don't have all of their documents, you have to give them enrollment for 30 days. And what we found is that when you give them 30 days, a lot of times parents just don't answer, they just don't come up to do their last paperwork. And so this has been an all hands on deck effort. So there are parents who called me and said, you know what, I've already seen the difference. Westlake, the hallways in Westlake are much calmer. But I wanted to let people know the why behind it, where we stand. We look to see about a couple of hundred kids who will not be there. And it's really, when you think about it, everybody wants a good education for their child. But one of the things that we and parents were calling me, I had parents saying, you know, there was, of course, 40+ kids in a class, that there wasn't any room for students to switch classes. Students couldn't get into their right pathway because the classes were so full. And so this is a two-pronged approach for us to make sure that the student population at Westlake is both manageable, but also we do our due diligence to taxpayers and make sure that the seats that we have at that school are seats for students who live in the attendance zone. We have sent out numerous letters. We have sent certified mail. For some students, we have not been able to get a response. Some students, parents have just withdrawn their children because they didn't live in the district, but it has been eye-opening. One of the telltale signs that we know on Fulton County property, we have flock cameras. So we know who comes into campus, who doesn't, and the number of tags from all types of counties that come through, that also was an indication. I was speaking with administration yesterday, early this morning, and usually after school, it takes about an hour for all the parents to come get their kids, the kids who don't ride the bus. And what they've said is that from this week and the week before school let out and the week before that, it's taken about 10 minutes. So we do know that we are being effective with our efforts. It is painful. I had to go up. I've had to go up and verify, and I live in the zone. And it is something that we have to do. I was just talking to a parent tonight who works out of town, and he really wasn't abreast to all the things that are happening. Even despite us doing this and re-verifying and changing attendance zones and bringing the Westlake zone in a little bit tighter, we know that this area is in constant demand. There are some apartments being built on the other side of Camp Creek. And what we found in some situations were that parents had homesteads in other counties, but they were renting apartments with groups of other parents to use that address to come to Westlake. So people are saying, you know, why do I have to bring my homestead papers or all of my documents? It's because according to Georgia law, you live where you have your homestead at. So it has been a Ms. Ingrid Huff has been over it. It has been a tedious process, but it's in the best interest of our kids in the attendance zone so they can go to school and actually move through those hallways. I'll take questions at the end because I know we are over time, but I also wanted to share that coming out of the Westlake cluster, we suspect that our feeder middle school, Sandtown Middle School, and some of our feeder elementary schools, we have started to look at the data and backwards map and saying, if we have a student at Westlake who we know does not live in zone, back mapping that to some of our other schools. We suspect in the next couple of years that we will be building some additional some additional schools. Right now we have Camp Creek that will be rebuilt. We have SL Lewis that will be rebuilt, and we have Conley Hills that will be rebuilt, along with Global Impact, which just opened which just opened last year. But this is something that it takes a process, and everybody feels strongly about it. And so one of the things that, as we're going through this and we're tightening up our policy on what paperwork we want, because when we look at policies from other counties, some of these counties, if you go to Fayette County, if you go to Atlanta Public Schools, they are a little bit more in detail on who can register and how they register. And we will also start to, in some of our schools where we notice an alarming number of students, we will also start to have registration, a centralized registration. I've gotten lots of messages from people who say, well, we have lots of growth. Is the overcrowding because of the growth? We can actually track all of our kids who are in private schools, who are in charter schools. We track them. So we know exactly how many students there. And the growth was not coming from that. The growth was coming in from kids who show up at Westlake High School in 9th grade. Some of the students just went to private school and they live in the zone, but there's also certainly some situations where they do not live in the county. And so just to combat that, so that we can make sure all students have, access to classrooms that aren't overcrowded, this will probably continue to be a process as we welcome new students into our schools. Also, another point, at January 1st, we approved a 2% pay raise for all employees. I know people have seen on the news where Atlanta offered a one-time stipend. We decided to do the 2% pay raise throughout the entire, for not one time, just continuous. So it would have a little bit more longevity. We also are continuing to deal with the fallout of COVID-19. We are bringing online a K-5 therapeutic school. So this would be a school for students who have some emotional issues, who need a little bit more therapeutic care. And so that will come online at College Park Elementary School. There'll be one on North Side, one on the South Side. And so there will be more information about that. I've talked about the capital plan. Sandtown Middle School, they are operating a college tour to Auburn and to Tuskegee, along with Westlake High School, in addition to an HBCU college fair coming up in February. Trying to think what else. I don't have to hold you guys so long. I think that's it for right now. At my last community meeting, we honored Langston Hughes High School, who won the state championship. We had over 500 parents there. My next community meeting will be January the 13th. That is a Monday. No, it'll be January 16th. It is a Monday, and we will be at Creekside High School. So I'll pause for a second if anybody has any questions.
January 16th is Martin Luther King Day. Are you having it on that?
I just saw that. So if it is designed for that, we'll try to move it to the 17th because that's a federal holiday.
Well,
And go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, the problem with kids living going to the school, that has been an ongoing problem even when my children were at Westlake. So it is nice to hear the diligence that you are showing in trying to make that happen. It seems like since we have created the city and all the things that are happening in our district, it's kind of like we're on the hot spot right now. Everybody and everything wants to come to Sandtown.
Yeah, and one of the things that we recognize is between, and these are just my high schools, so I just speak confidently about them, between Langston, Creekside, and Westlake, what we did with redistricting is that we had students who did not live in the community going to those schools, especially Langston and Creekside. So we had to shift our population of students to open it up so we could move students there. But even with that, we already know in the next couple of capital plans, we will be building down here. We've talked about this pretty extensively in my community meetings, but if you look at the census, the red hotspots are in South Fulton. They are in City of South Fulton, they are in Fairburn, and they are in City of South Fulton tipping into Palmetto. And it's just, there's so much building happening. And so that's why it's really important. I've got lots of calls from parents who are angry about how they have to verify. I had to verify. We are, and I think some of it comes from COVID, because during COVID, people could upload documents virtually. And so what we found when we started combing through documents is just things weren't consistent. I had a parent reach out to me where someone had basically forged a lease at her address, and had children going to Westlake from that. And the only reason she knew was because she went up there and they were like, hey, don't you have some other kids here? And she's like, no. And so it came out. So it's serious. If you think about the amount of money that is lost from that, but also on the flip side of that, just the school experience of our children. Our kids come home super tired because it's just so many people in the hallway. And so as I've been talking to students who work at Sandtown, Publix, or if I'm up there, it's made a tremendous difference. But it is going to be an ongoing process. We anticipate this upcoming year, as rising ninth graders come, we'll have to dig into students who are just showing up. And also going back, what we have found is that some families will falsify addresses in middle school so they roll up to Westlake, so they don't have to verify. So we just have found some hot spots. And also parents have been sending us information on things that they're seeing in the communities. We've gotten some calls about people letting people rent rooms. So it's been a process. And the idea is just, we cannot have kids in classes with 40 plus students. It's just not fair to them. It's not fair to parents. It's not fair to taxpayers.
Well, thank you, Ms. Warren. As always, you give excellent reports. Do we have any other questions for Ms. Warren?
I have a question, Debbie.
Sure.
Are there any, okay, when they find that parents have enrolled or guardians have enrolled students at school to which they should not be attending, other than withdrawing the student, is there any penalty for that?
Yes, ma'am. So one of the things that we did immediately is on the last day of December, so parents had like a 2 to 3 week window to come in and verify. And even if you missed your meeting because you work late, you work overnight, we've been pretty flexible. We even came back this last week, stayed till late. And so what we have said at the end of December, there were some parents who opted not to re-verify, and it could be for several reasons. Those children are dropped. We've also, our system is pretty sophisticated in that we have a system that tells us where the last known address was. So when we find that there has been explicit use of addresses, we are referring those to our attorney, not for people to be arrested, but for us to document it so that this can't happen again. We've had several parents who have threatened, all kinds of things to our staff. And I don't know what the solution is, but I think something has to be done, because especially for some of our schools that are on the border of areas, it's really running down our facilities. We just cannot. So we are exploring all options in those situations where it's apparent. When we look at leases and we see that the lease isn't real, or that there's no record of you paying the lease, these are just things that alert us to we need to dig a little bit deeper.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for Ms. Warren? Well, thank you very much, Ms. Warren, for joining us. Councilman Rowell and Gums, do you all have anything to share before we close out?
I guess I have a couple really quick things. We've covered a lot with the city. Bill Jones did talk a little bit about the green space that you see coming up in the area. I also wanted to give a shout out to Councilwoman Marcy Overstreet in the city of Atlanta. I actually introduced her to Bill Jones, in the park that he says is forthcoming will actually be a park that's bigger than Piedmont Park. So when I tell you it is huge, it will be huge. So stay tuned. And I guess you got a sneak peek in her to hear first. Also, I am working with to improve the safety around Anthem at Riverside Park. I am working closely with Chief Meadows on this. We're working to try to make sure that community is gated. again, you know, at the end of the year and the holidays, you see an uptick in crimes. We saw an incident where a group of teens had gone through, they started in Palmetto, hit Union City, hit Southwood, and all in one night where they were breaking out windows. The senior apartment community was hit. And so again, we're working on a safety plan and a gating plan for that community. I will be also working on the ordinance that will require that. That's something I'm currently working on. In addition, I want to thank the Sandtown Community Association for a successful coat drive to serve the children and adults on Foot and Industrial. We did distribute those right before Christmas. It was a huge success. We also had a number of the couple residents for Wind Creek who actually came out in the distribution, and they've actually decided that they're going to do Christmas in July or some initiative to begin earlier. Were moved by the work that got done around it. So thank you for your support of that event, and hopefully we can do that again next year. Let's see what else. I don't think anything else is pressing. I'll just leave a couple minutes if you have questions. Wanted to also just let you know, if you see land that's cleared on Camp Creek Parkway by Westlake Parkway, which is coming out the side entrance of Sandtown, you've seen the land cleared. That's actually a movie studio that's being constructed. It will be completed at the end of 2023. This is not something that would, come to the Sandtown Community Association because it's already zoned to allow for that. But I did want to make you aware that is a pretty significant land for us. That studio will have about 8 stages for filming movies. So just wanted to make you aware of that. And as we get a little closer, more details will be forthcoming.
Oh, I was about to ask, y'all still not telling us who?
No,
I've heard some rumors.
Well, again, we'll keep you posted. And as always, I'm here listening to get feedback from community. Anybody who ever says they want to do something in Sandtown, I always tell them to come here first to get input from the community. I found this to be effective, but I would also encourage you to ask others to participate. This virtual platform has been pretty effective. It's hard getting people out to meetings, but again, this is a way to hear from you, and I encourage your continued participation.
Hey, Doc, I have a question.
Yep.
Hey, this is Doc. How you doing?
Good.
Here's my, I'm not sure if it's a question or concern.
Okay.
Is there a way, as you consider the gated community for that property? Is there a way to get the stats to see the relation of crimes being committed in a gated community versus a non-gated community? It's my thought, it's my opinion that crime is higher behind a gated community than it is not, because of the thought, if I put myself in a criminal mind, the valuables I could receive would probably be more. It may be risky getting behind the gate, but it's probably more because it's behind the gate. It may be a mental thing, but I don't want to put them in harm's way by putting a gated community if the stats show that those gated communities are higher in crime than a non-gated community. Just a thought.
I think it's worth looking at. As you know, when we were talking earlier, I said the data should drive the solution. I believe it should. In this particular instance, when they did, of course, from the senior facility, it is a gated community directly across the street. It was a deterrent. They didn't get hit at all. And that doesn't tell the whole story, but I am interested as we look at solutions for the slate to look at what those 21 pages say. Because I know in the past, for example, it was because of the broken gate that people were going in there, breaking into people's car. That's our #1 crime in the area. So we have to be thoughtful about what these solutions look like. So I appreciate your comments about that.
Debbie,
Yes.
I have a question about that filming studio.
Mhm.
Now, is that a part of the Sandtown community?
That may fall, I believe it may fall under the food and industrial overlay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Okay,
that's
because
food.
the reason why I asked the question is, I was just wondering if, if they were a part of our tax revenue base. And that concerned me because, Georgia is just has put out the red carpet for filmmaking, and those people get credits, tax credits they can't even use, but because they're not residents of Georgia. So what they wind up doing is what they call factoring, selling that at a discounted rate to someone who can use. So I was just wondering, if we were going to benefit from that or not.
Well, what we'll do is I will ask our economic develop as we get a little closer, the economic development director to weigh in on that. I can tell you I do believe there will be benefit to our residents. I think there's the opportunity for people to post their properties for filming. We already have some and make money. I think there's also, just from the standpoint, I know that building, the investment, I think they said it's about an $80 million building for that one building alone. But I think it's worth having, again, as we get a little closer, to have them present, even if they're not under the overlay. I think they would be open to that. And
Okay,
again, I think there's, job opportunities and the like that we can talk about.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
This is for the councilwoman, and I think I've been saying this for a long time. This is more into the computer technology. And I don't know if the city is selling our city as a technology hub in the sense that we're very close to the airport. And I hope we can have people that are interested in, developing what is called technology park. And a lot of, if you look at North Side, they have that. If you look at Beach Street Industrial towards Norcross, towards, further in, they have technology park. It brings high-end jobs. So maybe the city should be trying to sell, our side as technology hub where we can attract people that will build technology parks. Something I've been, very passionate about and talking about. We are very close to the airport. And what happened is that people in IT, I'm sure Davis would know that, they come in on weekends, they work Monday through Friday and fly out. And the income is very, very, very high. I'm talking 6 figures income for IT. So it might be something we want to sell as close to the airport. And it will be international. You have people coming from all over the world for that.
I will also share with you that on food and industrial, there have been some assessments about what's done. Most of our stuff is light industry, but I think you'd be surprised about the amount of food that is food industries that are on food and industrial. And one of the things that we're seeing, and they're talking about, for those who are not or in the manufacturing, so much of it is robotic technology. So a lot of the jobs on food and industrial, and there's a report you can look at on the food and industrial CID page, that a lot of those jobs are high paying jobs. When you talk about volume on food and industrial, I think the number is something like 25,000 people come to work off of food and industrial alone. So we think about that main road, but there are streets upon streets and companies upon companies that are on those, on those side roads. So you're right. Technology is just another area that we should look in. But I know one of the things that they're talking about is, just branding what actually is occurring. And so you'll probably hear more about that. But the CID is doing some really good work to improve what's going on there. I think you can see it, it's visible. And I think during this next phase, when they exchange, redevelop what's at the interchange at I-20, which you will see likely that activity begin within the next 18 months, that's going to be significant.
You already see that the crime is significantly down. We don't see all the street walkers that we once saw. So we're moving in the right direction with that.
Everyone, we're at 8:54 and Donald just said the Zoom session will time out after 2 hours. So we're kind of getting there. So, Councilman Gums, I'm sorry, Councilman Rowell, are you done?
I'm done. We covered a lot.
Okay, Councilman Gums, are you there?
I am. Good
Would you-
evening, everyone, and I'll be really, really brief. Again, the Wolf Creek Golf Course renovations have began. Of course, I'm sharing with you all that they will be putting in a full bar and restaurant inside of the Wolf Creek Golf Course. So just wanted to let you all know that, and some other renovations as well to draw attraction. We will be having a ribbon cutting for the Stonewall Hotel and Butler Road roundabout, which is one of the first dual roundabouts in the state of Georgia that we will be having that ribbon cutting on January the 9th at 10 o'clock. District 2 will be hosting a Public Works Transportation Town Hall on January the 18th at Wolf Creek Library at 6:30 p.m. And it will also be Zoom as well. As Councilwoman Rao mentioned, Stonewall Hotel and Campbellton traffic improvements will be starting hopefully the 1st in February, but those improvements are coming. We will be hosting a plastic-free Saturday at the local grocery stores to kind of push our environmental awareness. We are partnering with one of the premier environmental groups here in Georgia, and we will be at the local grocery stores in the city passing out recyclable bags for people to get. We were planning on doing that on MLK weekend. We may need to move that. Just if you all want to volunteer, that would be great, or if you have volunteers. We mentioned the Butner Road Park that is coming. That is in District 2, very close to Councilwoman Rao. So we will be having some great success with that. Fire Station Town Hall renderings are available. We'll be having that town hall to talk about the new fire training facility that will be coming to District 2. And the renderings are available, so we'll be hosting that in February. And we will also have a Senior Sweetheart Day that will be hosted, day party that will be hosted on February the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, Love Day, or whatever you want to call it day, at the Eden Ranch. And we are excited, and that will be in partnership with Dr. Rao. And that's all I have. If anyone has any questions, you all know where to find me. And I look forward to having a great new year.
Great. Any questions for Councilman Gums? Well, y'all, it is 8:57. Thank you, Councilman Gums and Councilman Rao, for your updates. It is 8:57, 8:58. Thank you all that joined the meeting tonight, and thank you for your patience. We have gone over, but we shared a lot of good information. And hopefully I'll try not to cram the agenda so the next month. But until then, you all have a safe rest of the month, and we will see you in February.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Night.